What's up guys, CJ here. Today I want to talk about the rules updates and why I think that makes Archimago very powerful while making Druid very weak. So if you guys haven't seen the rules updates, I'll post a link down in the description down below. But you should check out Lord of Itza's video on it, or Roaring Turkeys. They already went through it a little bit more extensively than I did. I think Lord of Itza filmed more than one video about it, so they can go through that and kind of explain it to you. But I just kind of want to go over the brief highlights and then why I think this makes Archimago a problem, okay? So, first of all, the new nerf to Druid. I can pull it up here. So Tawny's wings have been clipped. So Tawny used to come back every time you played a new site. If you didn't have a Tawny, you got a Tawny, and it was a flying 1-power spellcaster. Incredible. It was the most broken thing about the Druid. Now that's going to happen on the first turn of the game, and then never again. So once per game on the first turn, you get a 1-power flying spellcaster, which is okay. But then when the first Desert or Kobolds or Violent or anything kills it, she's gone for the whole game, and the front side of your Druid no longer does anything. So pretty huge nerf. Honestly, I think that alone makes Druid incredibly weak. But then they nerfed the backside as well, which actually makes sense thematically, and from a gameplay standpoint, it's not terrible. I think if they just did this part, I mean, it would make them a little bit weaker, probably would still be one of the best avatars in the game. But now, when Druid flips, you still get the Bruin, which is great, but your Thorns only affect your allied sites. So allied sites gain whenever an enemy enters here, they take 1 damage. The fact that it says allied sites gain this means that Smokestacks turns this power off, Fields of Fixes turns this off, and then more importantly, you can't do this on your opponent's sites. That's actually kind of okay with me. It makes sense thematically, and as far as the gameplay perspective goes, it was really rough having a Drums of Doom and a flipped Druid on your sites so that you could never summon anything because it would die immediately. And for Death Speaker, you wouldn't even get the Genesis. You would literally enter the field, die to my Thorns, and then you didn't get the Genesis. It was awful. But the combination of both of those means that Druid is mostly unplayable now. He's an avatar that basically flips to get a Bruin, and that's about it. So once per game, you get a Royal Bodyguard for free, which is cool, but it's not really worth playing him over other avatars. We also have a nerf to the Hydra. Hydra now can die anytime it takes exactly 6 damage in 1 instance of damage. So if it attacks and 2 Bosk Trolls or 1 Infernal Legion or 1 Great Old One block it, the Hydra will die. It can die to combat damage now. And we also saw that Skirmish's move got stronger in that it can use its ability on the defense now, which is kind of cool. I'm okay with most of these things, except for Tawny basically makes Druid unplayable now, so that's a little bit rough. But why do I think that this nerf to Druid and Hydra makes Archimago a huge problem? For anyone who's new and didn't live the Archimago meta, I'm jealous, but Archimago became a major issue for about 8 months of the year, a few months after Arthurian Legends was released. When it first got released, people didn't realize how to play Archimago to the best of its abilities, and other avatars were able to win tournaments. But once people figured out how to play this thing, Archimago won basically everything. I've got a list. So season 7 of the online league with run by Ira, Archimago won. Cool. Tournament of Champions was a mirror match between 2 Archimagos, myself and Scribs. Scribs won, but it was Archimago all the way. The 2 largest following Australian tournaments, Archimago won both. Siege at the Core over in Europe was an Archimago mirror match, and Archimago won. Unland Cup, all right, finally. Archimago went on this tear. Archimago didn't win this thing. It was a Druid, awesome. But Archimago was in the finals, and it was run by Mike Herbig, who I love. Mike is a fantastic player. He's so good at this game. I think every event I've ever attended with Mike, he's top 8'd. If you guys don't know who this is the guy that ripped the Erik's Curiosa at the Courtesan Cup. So phenomenal player. Absolutely deserved to be in the finals. But he had taken like a multiple-month hiatus from the game, asked me a week before the event what deck he should run to try to win. I said, Archimago's busted, play that. And in 1 week, he got good enough to on that list to get to the finals. So, not great. All right, Sorcery Fest. Archimago won. Season 1 of the Sorcerer Summit, which is Bruce and I's online tournament series, Archimago won. We banned it for Season 2. Season 3, we decided to nerf it. We figure we'll put it in its place. Archimago won't be a problem. Maybe we can fix the game. So we made it so you could only run one Divine Healing instead of 3. And I think we let you run like 3 Common Sense or something like that. Bruce and Moth both went undefeated on Archimago anyway, and then Archimago mirror match with Archimago winning. Season 8 of the online league is kind of where everything came to a head. A number of players, mostly Kyle, played a boatload of Archimago in the online league. By the end of the season, Archimago had a 70+% win rate overall with an 81% win rate on the play, and 3 players on Archimago made it to the top cut with a greater than 86% win rate. And I think Moth might have been sitting at like 93 or 94% win rate, which is insane. And so basically we were also fed up with this. I think that league might have had one of the lower participation of all of the leagues, especially if you don't count Kyle, who played like 143 games on Archimago and went on a 42-0 streak with Token Archimago, which he played because he thought it was more fun. So then the July rules update happened right before Gen Con. Basically, we got the strike changes where now Grimgasarm, Mask of Mayhem allowed you to strike against sites, which meant that the one-shot potential was incredibly powerful, and Archimago's, basically the floor of that avatar dropped right out. You used to be able to get knocked down to like 6 health, 7 health, 8 health, and then just heal back to full with Divine Healing. Now you could never be below 12, because if you ever were, they were going to one-shot you and kill you, and then all your healing were just dead cards. Vampire buffs made it so that mid-range had more play into aggro, and then we kind of had a more healthy and diverse meta, except for the fact that most of the decks are still Druid. But we had other avatars playing as well, which is kind of cool. So and even with all of that, Archimago, in my opinion, if you were really good on the avatar, so the floor dropped right out, right? You no longer had free wins. It wasn't, you had to play like the best versions of the Archimago deck to do well at tournaments. But if you knew what you were doing, I still think it was the best deck you could be playing. We still got 3 Rainbow Foils with Archimago, which I think is the second most of any avatar anyway, despite it having one of the lowest participation in any of the Crossroads anyway. 2 from Europe, 1 from Australia. But Archimago made it to the finals of both of those. So why do I care about this when we just nerfed Druid? It's not just because Druid got nerfed, but we nerfed Druid and we nerfed Hydras. So why is Archimago the king again? Well, because we nerfed those strike changes that made one-shot potential go away. So the floor of the avatar, where it used to be no longer able to get free wins, went right back up to where Archimago is going to be relatively easy, at least until the new sites are in play. And that's kind of a major issue. So the one-shot potential is gone. Also, Vampires going away means that mid-range, who was able to chunk you for a lot of damage, is going to be a little bit weaker as well. Vampires were really helpful in stabilization against those aggro decks, and that's kind of gone. And from the spoilers we've seen, there's plenty of mid-range options, don't get me wrong, but there's also a lot of buffs to the air, fire, aggro lists. So I think aggro got a lot stronger as well. So why am I so concerned about this? You're saying, come on now. We've got these new sites, right? We got Haystacks, so Common Sense isn't going to work so well. We've got the Fields of Blood, so healing's not going to work. I'm just going to play Fields of Blood, and you don't get to play anymore. And we've got the Fields of Fixes to turn off your defensive sites, which is true. But we also have a lot of site interaction, which we want. We want site interaction. And by the way, I wanted Druid not to be the most powerful thing to do and the only other avatar you should be playing. But Archimago gets those site interactions as well, right? So Archimago sinkhulling your Fields of Blood looks like I can heal again. Archimago playing Desecrate on that Haystacks means I can tutor again. Archimago playing Consecrate on the Fields of Blood means I'm healing again. Basically, Fields of Fixus, turning off your Fields of Blood means that I'm healing again. So all these things that allow other decks to have site interaction, which I do think is healthy for the game, and I'm very happy that it's in there, Archimago can do as well. And the thing that we found out with Token Magoo, thanks Kyle again, is that Archimago doesn't need to heal for nearly as much when you can never attack him. The fact that Archimago can play Plague of Frogs, into Common Sense, into Guards, into Border Militia, you just make so many tokens that you don't need to heal because you just have infinite chump blockers. And the best way to combat that was to bring your Druid forward, flip him, and then A, he couldn't summon tokens on his own sites anymore because they would just immediately die, and B, his tokens couldn't move to block because they would immediately die to Druid's flips, and that no longer works. And the other truth is, we have all these new cantrips like Return to Nature, and even more importantly for the token deck, the Gift of the Frog, which generates you a new token, jump blocker, and draws you a card. I am worried that Archimago is actually going to be quite strong again. I'm not saying that the sky is falling. I'm not saying that the game is over, and I'm not saying Archimago is going to be the best deck that there is ever going to be. But I was feeling really good about where Archimago was in the meta, and I was excited to play a mono water or an air water deck in the next set. But now I'm not sure that I can out the gate because I think Archimago is in a really decent spot despite all the hate for that avatar. Because I'm not going to be running Haystacks and I'm not going to be running Fields of Blood in my air-water deck, and I don't think that I can safely go into a matchup against Archimago, who just went back up to being very strong, and not run those things. So I think Earth and Fire are both feeling kind of necessary again, but I think we're okay. And hear me out. Erik's Curiosa's design team has created an incredible game that I love. I think we all love it, or else you wouldn't be watching my videos. I'm just some dude in a room talking at a camera. So I do think that they are a great design team. They made a really good game, and the balance has been pretty decent. Druid is a little overpowered. That's fine. There are 450 cards in Gothic. I'm sure they've tested the hell out of this, and there's no way that they forgot about Archimago, right? Archimago has still been relevant, and again, Archimago has had 3 rainbow foils in the most recent Crossroads. It's been in the top cuts. It's doing well. I think it's the second most rainbow foiled avatar we have behind Druid. So Erik's Curiosa didn't forget that this avatar existed when they made these changes. So reverting the strike changes, reverting Druid, making all these things happen, I don't think that they forgot about Archimago. I'm sure that they've playtested this. I'm sure they've balance tested this. We've got 300 more cards from the set to come out. So for all we know, there's even more Archimago hate, I hope. We'll see. We've got 10 more avatars to see. We've got loads more sites to see. So I don't think that it's the end of the world yet, but I do think if you're going to be showing up to an event where people are trying to spike and win, you should be thinking about Archimago coming, because the floor of that avatar just went right back up to where it was before these changes. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Am I overreacting? Again, I think we're going to be okay, but I do think you should be thinking about this avatar. Are you worried? Are you feeling like the site hate and the cemetery hate is enough already? Let me know. Cheers, guys.